Hello, anybody that shows up. Figure we'd do a short little live stream tonight and leave this up here in case anybody finds something that they want to take a look at a little bit later on. I hope you had a good week. Mine was pretty uneventful. As a teacher, this is like my summer, and so the weeks are basically spent just playing guitar and mowing the lawn and doing stuff like that. So it's pretty uneventful summer so far. We haven't really done anything or traveled anywhere. Just been good just to stay home, hang out with my dogs. Got two dogs that are Chiweenies. They're Chihuahua Wiener dog mixes, and they're my buddies, and we hang out together. And other than that, and I go to judo. That's another thing. I practice judo, and so I had a judo practice today that went well, and we had a lot of fun. And at the age of 63, judo practice kind of beats you up quite a bit, and the recovery time is a little bit over. But thank goodness for like stuff like a leave, which is basically my recovery. That and stuff called Tiger Balm. If you ever worked out and used Tiger Balm before, it's like really good for sore muscles and things. So anyway, time just to kind of ease into the evening and just talk about guitar a little bit. And if anybody shows up, that's fine. If not, then you can watch this later on. So here's what we got going on tonight. I figure we talk about expanding your chord vocabulary. Now, you can get all into a whole lot of music theory, and I've studied music theory, and I quite enjoyed it. It's helped me a lot with composition and things. But tonight's not about music theory or even like the note names and things like that. But basically, how to take your what I call the vanilla chords. Everybody knows your vanilla chords, right? You learn to play A and D and E and G and C and E minor and A minor, and everybody knows every starting guitarist their first year learns about 15 chords, and that's a lot of them never get past that. I took an approach when I was first learning how to play the guitar. I had a Mel Bay chord book. And I said, okay, all the chords like are on the C page, I'm going to learn all those chords. And they had some pretty weird ones. They had like C diminished and stuff, you know. And I was like, well, what am I ever going to use that chord for? Or like an augmented chord, you know, like kind of spooky sounding, but really couldn't see a need for one. Most of the songs are going to have G, C, D, E minor, A minor, F. You know, every now and again, a really hard song have a B flat or an E flat. But I decided, okay, I'm going to learn as many chords as I can because it's like knowing words. You know, the more words you have, the more you can say. There's an interesting kind of debate among linguists and psychologists and stuff, where they basically asked, like, if you don't have a word for something, can you think it? You know, when we're like 1 year old, we're like, you know, we're pre-verbal. And what do you have as far as memories from that time? Hardly any. And so memory was probably connected to being able to speak or at least understand speech. And then over time, we develop a vocabulary and then we interact with the world. And so the more you know and you can say and you can communicate with, the more it embeds in the memory and the more you can experience and know. So for the guitar, the chords are like your words. You learn notes and then you learn to make the chords, and then you're spelling words with the chords. And so the more chords you know, the more you can say, the more moods you can create, the more you can convey what's in here to your audience. Now, we have, you can all go on to the music theory of this, of course, but one thing that you can do is just begin adding or subtracting fingers from chords that you know already. Okay, so some of the ones, let's start with a really simple one. Probably everybody already knows this one, but just talk about just the principle involved. Let's play a D chord, okay? Basic D. Okay, 4 strings. I'm not playing the top 2 strings. Now, most everybody, I'm sure, has learned to take the pinky and add that on. That's called a suspended chord. You're suspending the 4th note of the scale against the major chord. And a lot of songs use it. Take off your 2nd finger, and that leaves the bottom string open. So, but just those 3 little notes right there, the open string, the F sharp, which is part of the D chord anyway, and then the G, which you add in with your pinky. So that's a pretty good one. But let's add or take away some other notes from this. Okay, let's take away the second finger. That leaves the second string open. Well, that's kind of an interesting flavor, isn't it? That's a D6. So you take a D scale and you count up D, E, F sharp, G, A, B. That's the sixth note of the scale. So could you use that in a song? You possibly could. Let's see here. What if you take a note like this one and just lower it one? Now, you can't cram all those three fingers in there together, but the easiest way to do this is make a partial bar. Now you've got all the first three strings on the second fret. Press down. Ooh, that's pretty nice. Now let's drop one to see if we can. Now we're going to basically turn our D chord upside down, and it makes a D7th chord. Now let's take this first finger off and leave that B string open. So if you put it all together, so you make a little descending melody through those chords. That's pretty neat. Of course, you got D minor. You could add the pinky on there, on that G. Take it off. And you got this finger. Now this finger is kind of hard to move depending on where you're at. If you move it down one, you're not going to get to a scale tone there. You're going to be on this G sharp. That's going to sound kind of clashing. Not particularly useful. Or to move it up one, you can't really move it up past the other finger. So, but if you were to switch them, you end up with a D minor chord with a D bass. All right, let's switch to A. 5 strings. I'm not playing the low E. Okay, you probably already know A minor, which all we've done is subtract one. We took the note we're holding down on the second fret here on the second string, and we're just letting that go and put our first finger down on that same string on the second string on the first fret. So there's A major, A minor. Well, there's something else we could take off there. We could just take it off completely. That's a real cool chord. It's an A suspended. A little hot in my room here, so the guitar may go a little bit flat from that. Now, what if I take off another finger? Let's take this, our third finger, which is holding down this A note there. Let's take it down one fret. Ooh, that sounds pretty cool. So now we could go. That's pretty neat. Okay, let's try C. Okay, C, a real common one everybody knows is to take your pinky and put it down on the D, which is the third fret of the second string. You can also take it and put it down on the bottom string on the third fret. Now, what else can you do from here? Let's say, okay, I've got this note up high. All right, let's take basic C chord. Let's take the index finger away. That open second string, that B, that's the 7th note of the C scale, so that makes it a C major 7th. Now we could go do something like, we want to maybe add a finger here on the third string, on this second note there, that's an A. To do that, we got to switch our fingers around a little bit. So I'm going to put my third finger there where it would normally be on the C. I'm going to take my second finger and put on the second fret of the third string, and then I'm going to put my index finger where the other finger was in the C chord on the second fret of the fourth string. Ooh, that sounds pretty cool. Wow, that's kind of neat. So now let's see what else we can do with the C chord. We added one. We took one away. Let's try the other string. Okay, so bottom string. Can we put on the first, follow that pattern, put it on the first string here? It doesn't sound so great, but let's say you're finger picking. You can make it like a passing tone into another chord there. Let's try E minor. We'll do the last one. You can try this on a lot of different chords. Just try putting fingers down and whatever you can reach. If you got big hands, you might be able to reach further. I'm staying probably within just one fret of the basic chord. Okay, let's try E minor. There's two ways we can play E minor for our exploration. We can play the basic E minor chord, or we can play it with the top two fingers. It's the same notes. I'm just using different fingers because I can do different things with that. Let's say, what can I reach here with my pinky from the basic E minor chord? Well, I could go here to, let's say, the third fret of the second string. That is an E minor 7th. And also an E minor 7th, I could keep the same chord, but just take this third finger off. And now I've just got, that's also an E minor 7th. I've just doubled up the D note here and there. Now I can play those same two notes like this with my first two fingers instead of the second and fourth. I can use the first and third. And then, let's see what else I can do from here. Well, I've got now a pinky free. Let's put it down here on the 3rd fret. That's just another voicing of E minor. Okay, I've got this second finger here. Let's take this my pinky finger off, and let's put this second finger on the 1st string, 2nd fret. There's an E minor 9th. Oops, get on there good. Cools down in chord. So maybe I could take my pinky and go 3rd fret, take the pinky off. Second finger off. You could do something with that, couldn't you? Oh, one more real quick one on E minor. Okay, let's do the basic E minor here. Now let's take our pinky, let's put it on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. There's that E minor 7th. Now what I'm going to do is slide that down 1 fret. So now I've got the 2nd fret all the way across on the 5th string, 4th string. I skip the 3rd, and then I have the 2nd string, 2nd fret. That's an E minor 6. So you can maybe go, let's try it like this. That's E minor 7th, and I'm going to slide down. Oops, messed that up. For the intro of a song or something like that. So any chord that you can think of, G, maybe change your G around like this. Scale type thing in there. So explore around with that. Take your basic chords, your vanilla chords, add a finger, take away a finger, just explore, see what you come up with. Don't worry about what the name of the chord is. You might find something that you're going to hear from another song that you know, or maybe it'll just inspire you to come up with a song of your own. And that's what it's all about, really. Having fun, exploring, developing a vocabulary. You can worry about what the chord is named, do the music theory analysis of it afterwards, and for now, just enjoy exploring and making sounds. Try it all over the neck, but based off all the chords you know, and then see what you can come up with. Well, that's about all I got for tonight. Thanks for dropping in and checking out what we talked about tonight. If you have something that you'd like me to cover in future Saturday night live streams, put it in the comments and I'd be glad to put something together. And the channel is growing over 1,500 subscribers now, and it grows a little bit every week. Glad to see that happening. And make sure you like and you subscribe, because that helps with that old Facebook algorithm. And one of the things I'm really noticing too that's really cool is that the demographics are changing of my viewers. My viewers used to be, I'd log in there and it was like 98% people age 55 and up, which figures because I'm an old guy, right? But in the last several weeks here, it's been growing in the 25 to 35 age bracket, on up to about 40 or so, and it's about like that 25 to 34 age bracket is now about 30%, a little over 30% of my viewers. So I really appreciate that. I hope that the people find that useful. I've got another video that's going to be coming up here shortly. It's going to be a side-by-side comparison of two Cozart 12 strings, the Strat version and the Tele version. That'll be out here probably maybe tomorrow or Monday. And what else we got going on here? Oh, make sure you check out Leviathan. If you missed Leviathan, that was the video I did the premiere for earlier in the week. That thing is really cool. You'll really like that. And that involves electric 12 string and some soaring lead stuff and some pretty deep rock bass, and that's a kind of a rock band kind of thing. A little bit different than a lot of the stuff that I do. So thank you again, and we'll catch you next time on the channel. And I'm going to go ahead and get out of here and go do something. See you later. Have a good week. Bye, everybody.